An interesting aspect for me with working with pottery is that it has room for many parts of me. I can be physical, splitting wood, firing for days at an end, wedging clay. But it also has room for the craft part, working with hands, throwing, trimming, and so on. Glazing even. It can be an art in itself. And it has room for my interest in history, searching through what's been done in pottery and looking for old techniques and so on. And it also has room for my technical side, learning about glaze chemistry, finding and adapting things and learning from mistakes via these knowledges from all the fields combined into small cups in this case. For instance, this cup. It's a dark stoneware clay, and on top of it it's a clear glaze. But since the dark clay has a lot of iron in it, during the firing process iron will bubble up into the glaze and mix. And since the glaze is moving at these temperatures, different thickness of the glaze, different temperatures all the way around, and different amount of iron change the coloring of the pot. So iron in reduction can become all the colors of the rainbow, but in oxidation you'll have a hard time getting anything else but yellow. So these colors are all from the reduction part of a firing, even though reoxidation, as it's called, is a part as well. In this cup I've used a lightly colored stoneware clay, fired in an anagama kiln upside down. Into the clay I wedged a stone I collected in Denmark a few years back. Small stones that react just right for my taste. I've trimmed this bowl a little bit, even though I don't have to because it doesn't have a foot in its normal sense. But that's to bring the stone out onto the surface, so you can feel on with your fingers afterwards like this. And on the inside the stones is just underneath the clay surface, making small, very special surface alike. You can see the wadding mark here as well, and some lines up from some grass I put in between the wadding and the clay to give a little bit of extra life inside the bowl, the cup. And on the full turn of the pot you have the orange from the back side, the grey-blue, and some yellow where some extra ash has deposited during oxidation in the kiln. This pot has an honest, stable feel for me, and that's something I think it has in common with this cup. The shape is inspired from traditional Chino bowls. Those bowls I'm thinking about are Japanese and usually called chaban and are quite a lot bigger. But they have some shape similarities with this, so it's only an inspirational start. The straight lines, a small foot that's quite low, kind of hides underneath, making it just hover a bit over the ground, just to make it easy to grip it, pick it up. And this small peaked base is typical for the pots I'm inspired for in this case. But the glaze is not a Chino at all, it's something quite different. It's a glaze that reacts quite easily with wood, and it has done so in this case. A lot on the front, but on the back side there's no ash at all. It's very different from the front, which is shiny and glossy. This cup, on the other hand, is quite different from those two. It's thin, with a quite high foot and very hard foot, not connected at all with the outer shape, I would say, making it look like a stem, more or less, for the cup instead. It's a primitive porcelain with a very thin glaze on top, and you can see the finger marks from me glazing this pot. I've raw glazed it. The process of raw glazing is when you glaze without a bisque firing. You glaze straight away on soft clay or semi-soft clay, what we call leather hard. And for me that's a good process because I can make a cup in 2 days, not 2 or 3 weeks. So the process is kind of fast, and it has to be like that since I have so many different techniques in the air at the same time for me to keep tracks on things. And also it gives a fresh feel to everything, and some marks you only see on old pots because they were raw glazed as well. And the last cup for this set is this one. It's a ash glaze on top of a high iron dark stonework clay, fired in an anagami kiln. And the ash glaze is not very thick, but during the firing the ash from the wood that we fired the kiln with has mixed with the glaze, and it looks like we glazed quite a lot on this side and this side. But that's only the wood giving that extra. So on the inside here it's actually started to pool a bit, like a lake down here, with thick ash glaze, very green and intense. I like the shape of this one. It has similarities with the Chino inspired bowl, but it has an outward rim here. I feel it's more what you see in Chinese bowls, not cups, and a very low belly here, making it sit very firmly on the ground.